Okay, what is going on, everybody? Rogers Base here, and welcome to the Japan Time podcast for May 15th, 2023. This is our first ever show since the release of what is probably going to end up being Game of the Year 2023, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. We are out quite a few people right now. I know I didn't just hear Cap from the guy that likes Horizon. Sit your ass down. We had a couple people who are in here right now. First and foremost, we have Shofu, of course. What's going on, Shofu?
Hey man, rest in peace, DC, man. That was my fucking guy. Very sad what happened to him.
Yeah, rest in peace,
DC, man.
Oh, absolutely, rest in peace. I forgot that happened since the last show. Oh man, yeah, rest in peace to ZC. Really great guy. He was really awesome at all the Pokemon events too. Whenever we went to Pokemon Worlds and things, he would hook us up with badges, and yeah, really sad to see what happened to him. Really sad. So we've got Shofu in here as well, paying his respects. We've also got McDareth. What's going on, McDareth?
Doing well. I mean, we're gonna get into it later. Obviously, I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't know when I'm gonna finish that game. I'm like 28 hours in, and have just started going towards the Rito mission, which is like the first main one they send you on. I have just been exploring a bunch, but we'll get into that later.
I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because I saw some people asking in the chat earlier whether or not we're going to go into spoilers. We are absolutely not. There are not going to be any story spoilers in this discussion at all. I think we're all still relatively early into the game. We're not super far. I just got to my first technical dungeon today at the end of my stream. So again, very early first impressions, but I think a lot of us have already 10, 15, 20 hours in the game. So yeah, again, no story spoilers, but we will be talking.
So I have a question, right?
Related. Yeah.
So how far? Okay, so definitely not. You know me, I wouldn't talk about story. But with a game like this, half the joy is finding stuff for yourself. So how far in are we going to talk about stuff we've seen? Because there's stuff I read into that's wow, this is kind of crazy.
I think up to this weekend is. I mean, none of us have been playing for a super long period of time. So I feel like anything we've discovered in these first 3 days that aren't necessarily super story spoiler, I think we're good to go.
All right.
Because people have been sharing their creations and things on social media, so I feel like it's totally fine. All right, well, someone else is taking their time with the game. We've got Coastward. What's going on, Coast? Welcome to the stream.
Oh, I'm fucking loving this game, man. It's bringing me back to, when the Switch first came out in, what was it, 1999? How long ago was this console released?
2016.
I'm loving this game, though. 17. I'm loving it.
17.
Oh, you're right. It was 17. It got announced in 16. That's right. Dang. See, I thought it was older than it actually was. Which is what I think about Tito all the time. What's going on, Tito?
I am kind of I'm old as shit. I'm not old as you, but I'm old as shit. No, I only said Cap because it's this year's kind of FF16, Spider-Man 2. I don't think that's a lot.
Spider-Man 2 not winning nothing, bro.
That's Cap. That's the kind of game that wins awards, bro. Are we serious?
Bro.
I'm telling you right now.
It's the kind of game that gets nominated for awards. It doesn't win them, though.
It's not going to win it. No.
This game is getting really tens across everything. Yeah, I don't think Spider-Man's getting tens.
Spider-Man's not getting close.
There was a world where I would
don't say
probably
tens across everything. It doesn't look how it looks because the console is on, man. They lose points.
I don't know.
Biggest downside is because of the console, honestly, with this game.
Like I said, we'll talk about what I told you earlier, Roger. But I'm just going. I haven't looked at reviews for nothing. I'm just going off of what people are telling me. So I didn't know it was getting tens across. Whatever.
Oh yeah, it's been getting a lot.
I just know that there's a lot of good games coming.
It's currently reviewing higher than Breath of the Wild did, which is pretty insane.
Well, I think
when you
okay.
think about
So
it,
if we
yeah.
could jump, if I could jump on this real fast, because I think
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
so.
yeah.
My biggest worry with this game. Okay, hold up. My biggest worry with this game was that it's like so Breath of the Wild was so amazing because when you're playing it, you're getting that feeling of wow, all this stuff is new because Zelda hasn't been like this. Yeah, there's been open world games, even though people act like Breath of the Wild was the first. It definitely changed a lot of the way that genre has been going forward. So a lot of stuff with Breath of the Wild was brand new. So I thought if this is just Breath of the Wild 2, you're not going to get that feeling again. But there are so many times in this game it does something or something happens or I go to somewhere and I get that feeling all over again. And it's happened so many times. And I'm not even like probably even a quarter into this game yet. Like I feel like it's gonna review better, literally because it did something that's so hard to do and it lived up to an already amazing game and topped it in so many ways.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's honestly kind of remarkable going through this game. I played. I think a lot of us played Breath of the Wild when it came out, which was 6 years ago now, and yet somehow, in spite of how familiar a lot of things feel, it still manages to feel fresh in a lot of ways. And I think the game plays to that idea incredibly well, just in terms of how it structures a lot of situations, how it presents Hyrule to you, all that jazz.
By the way, the person speaking right now is Viram. What's going on, Viram? I realized I didn't give an introduction for you, but of course I got to do an introduction for you. Hello, Viram.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
It's good to be here as always.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Talked about
Viram, I
Zelda.
need you to answer this question in the chat. Why is he British?
That's a stupid question.
I should
I should just ban you from the
Yeah.
chat.
I saw this like
I mean, there
one
is
time.
an answer. There is an answer.
And to be fair, didn't Fidel literally say the exact
No.
same thing?
He said, "Oh my God, he's British."
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's cool to meet the British.
That's what he said. He said, "Oh my God, he's British." Looks at Aru. Isn't that cool? Question mark. And I've never wanted to kick a human in the chest more in my life.
Oh, real quick, I actually want to ask and direct a question to someone specifically, and that is Shofu. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, a lot of the time you'll stream Pokemon or you'll stream fighting games or you'll talk about that kind of stuff. But Breath of the Wild, when it first came out, I remember being surprised by how much you liked it and how much you were playing it and talking about it. And so I'm curious if the magic is still there for you as well, playing through Tears of the Kingdom. Like, if you've been streaming it, really enjoying it, what are your initial thoughts so far?
I haven't played too much of it, honestly. I'm like 7 hours in. I unfortunately am just far too busy right now. I don't have time. I gotta get ready for things. You feel me?
Of course,
but it's been fun.
For that cipher.
Of course, it's fun. Like I still have the experience of I mean, I don't know. Every time I boot up the game, it's still, I just run around and find stuff. Like I'm trekking across the desert right now, and I'm just running into random things that I didn't even know were there. Like, so it's cool. Like my experience with Breath of the Wild in this game is always just, I always get the feeling that I can just do whatever the fuck I want whenever I want. So I can just freestyle the game, and it's fun that way.
I'm glad you said that too, because that is something that I didn't know if I would necessarily feel again after seeing that initial gameplay reveal. Like, I think seeing Ultra Hand, Fuse, Ascend, and Rewind or Recall or whatever for the first time, I was like, I mean, these seem like cool powers, but they don't necessarily feel, at least initially, they didn't feel to me like they were going to be as unique as the ones from Breath of the Wild, or that you'd be able to do as many things. But I actually think, like, this game is a lot more open with what you can do and things that you can fuse and places that you can go and things that you can combine in the environment and those things that stay there. Even like completing the shrines, I feel like, there were always different ways to complete the shrines in Breath of the Wild, but I feel like this time around I have seen so many people complete so many shrines so differently than I have, or like even other friends have that I've been watching on stream.
Yeah,
and so I think
always
that's
been
kind
my
of
favorite part of the game.
time.
That
Yeah.
There's no standard way to do anything. You can figure it out how you want to figure it out.
Yeah. And that the game and the tool set is there where you can pretty much do whatever you want at any time.
I feel like with this, it's
go
like, it's just, with Tears of the Kingdom, it's been so much more open-ended with the additions they've added that a lot of the things I'm hearing from other people with how they're playing is so much drastically different to what I've been experiencing, and like also across the board from like every other person I've been hearing about. Like I've heard like a handful of people tell me how they've been playing this game, and each of them are unique on their own and do not share any similarities of how people have been playing this game, which is honestly a feat of its own. It's
Yeah.
cool to see a lot of people playing this game, uh, how they want to play it, and also being unique in their own way.
Because I feel like, you know, we are in a post Elden Ring world right now when we're talking about open world games. And I did think, after how much I ended up really liking Elden Ring, despite not really playing a lot of Souls games, I was like, man, I don't know how another open world game is going to top this or even come close to this. And yeah, jumping back into the world of Hyrule and like discovering things and solving the puzzles and the gameplay loop of, you know, finding shrines or Korok seeds, upping your stamina, upping your hearts, you know, finding dungeons, discovering things, doing side quests. It's just been so much fun. And the time really does kind of like waste away playing the game in a way that I feel like even I didn't even really feel with Elden Ring. I feel like when I got lost in Elden Ring, it was because I would, you know, kind of lose track of time because I was battling a boss over and over again. It wasn't really like due to the exploration aspects. And I feel like that is where this game so succeeds with the underground, which I haven't even touched yet. Like, have any of you guys even touched the underground
I was
yet?
gonna bring
Yes.
that up. Like
A little
Yes.
bit.
a lot of the added on aspect of the game has definitely been the sky section and the underground section. Um, Not only that, like when you compare it to Elden Ring, I feel like a lot of it also comes down to with Elden Ring, I feel like there weren't as many like small little quests that you can do compared to Tears of the Kingdom. Like if you enter a new village or you come across a stable or something like that, there's always like a handful of little side quests or adventures you can do that open up things like new cooking or new clothes and stuff like that. So it's it's open ended in every aspect of the game, and honestly, a little bit better than Elden Ring. I'm gonna be real.
I
So
think. Go ahead. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say real fast. So for anyone who's seen the underground, hasn't gone down there, trust me when I tell you. I won't tell you what's, but go into the underground. Go to the
Nah,
underground,
bro.
and do
Anytime
that
I've seen
quest.
any of that stuff, I get the hell up out
Yeah,
of there. I'm not jumping
that's
in
what
this
I'm.
big
No, no, no,
dark
no, no.
hole,
Wait,
bro.
No,
Yeah,
is that
don't
the shit
don't
where-
jump
I'm
down
not
there,
jumping
bro.
down, bro. I can't see nothing.
Hell
There's
no.
there's goo everywhere. There's
is that shit where Snark got gripped up?
that was during a red moon, I think.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
the fucking hands, bro. They
Yeah,
just
the
come out of
hands.
nowhere and they
I
Don't
ran
jump.
into
done.
those.
Do
I
not
hate
jump down
those.
there
Those were
unless you're
horrifying.
prepared, man.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Oh
those
yeah,
the
I guess
first
that
time I
would be
ran
the
into a
thing.
floor master was in it was like on the way to one of the towers towards the Zora area. And I wasn't even underground. Then all of a sudden these things just come reaching out of the ground and chasing me. I didn't know what the heck was I thought it was a blood moon. I thought I got caught like in the middle of a blood moon thing. But in reality it was just the floor masters coming after me. It was wild.
Jump
Yeah.
scare shit, man.
But let me say, if you like, I'm trying not to spoil it, but there is something down
Yeah,
there
of
that you
course.
get that you, once you get it, it's so good. So if you like crafting things, you should go into the underground.
So that's the other thing I've heard people say is like there's an optimal way, obviously, to do the quests in the beginning. But I also feel like I've watched so many other people stream this and completely ignore even the first one to get the paraglider, where it was like my chat was even telling me like you really need to go get the paraglider right now. If you don't get it right now, like you're hemorrhaging your traversal aspect. And I loved it though. I really like I had such a fun time just jumping from the towers and exploring things and opening up the map and it's just been so much fun in a way that I really wasn't expecting. I feel like even a couple months ago when we were talking about this on the show, I think we were all kind of excited, but at the same time, it just felt like with the marketing lead up for this game and the things they were keeping secret,
Yeah, it really felt like that worry it was going to be Breath of the Wild 2
Yeah,
and not something
yeah.
new.
Not
Yeah.
even. I honestly had a bit of a worry that it was going to be like Breath of the Wild DLC. But even
Yeah.
when you step back into the world of Hyrule for the first time after that initial tutorial sky area and you land back on the ground, like even base Hyrule is so different. Like a lot of the towns that you visit again have changed over the years. Like there's certain environments that are exactly the same, but to me it's at least been a situation in which like I've liked recognizing certain landmarks, right? Like I like
Yeah.
going back to a certain area of the map and being like, "Oh my god, this is still here," but it still feels like fresh enough, right? That it's been far enough away from the last time I played Breath of the Wild where a lot of the stuff feels new. And I do wonder if I would have felt the same way had I picked up Breath of the Wild again before this game came out. So I was just going to ask if any of you replayed a little bit of Breath of the Wild prior to the release of Tears of the Kingdom and what that's
Hell
been like.
no. I
Nah,
I
I did
completely
not.
forgot how to play the game when I when I turned it on.
Same.
I had to learn how to play again.
I think there's just there was too much stuff coming out for me to even have a thought about playing Breath of the Wild before Tears of the
Sure.
Kingdom.
Yeah, I just know a lot of people who are going through the story quest again and wanting to re-experience things is a little bit of a refresher before going into this. But I feel like, yeah, even with the environments that I've run into so far, it feels like there's more biodiversity, like in terms of the way things are laid out. Not just in the underground or like in the sky areas, but I feel like even in the lava areas that I've gotten to so far, or some of the forests that I've run into, I feel like there's more monsters, like more unique, cool looking monsters that aren't just like the same reskins of bokoblins or elemental versions of the Keese or whatever. I feel like there's a lot more of that. I feel like the environments themselves, like the trees and the different colors, are really, really pretty. Obviously, I think the one big gripe that I've seen a lot of people have, and Tito, I know you could speak on this, is that the game looks like Breath of the Wild, right? It doesn't look like something that is like top of the line, best graphics of all time kind of thing that I think people are expecting out of games nowadays, or like with things coming out in the near future. You've got Street Fighter looking beautiful and Final Fantasy looking beautiful, and even recently like Jedi Survivor looked really good despite some of the weird spec problems that game was having on PC. So I'm also just kind of curious, like, does that bother you? Is that something that you've thought about at all while playing through it? Are you upset by the graphics at all? You wish it looked better? Or does it not really matter to you because you're having so much fun with the gameplay? Because, I mean, personally for me, it doesn't bother me at all. But again, people know me as like, hashtag Nintendo free game fanboy. But it really doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm just curious what you guys think.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the way it looks. Definitely, it'd be dropping frames here and there, but that's standard for the console that we're playing on. So I'm not tripping on that either.
No.
But it's also like 30 FPS, and it's just I don't know. I've already gotten used to Breath of the Wild, so it's not really anything too crazy.
Yeah, it's such a large scope game that it's like I would expect a game like this on the hardware that it's running on to run at 30 FPS. That doesn't really bother me. And like even the times where there are frame drops, it's like sporadic every now and then. It's largely still 30, and I think it definitely still looks and feels pretty good for the most part. And I think it manages to make up for those issues by just having such a nice art direction. I mean, Breath of the Wild was always a sort of very visually striking game in the way that it presented its art style. It almost had that kind of. It felt like an evolution of Skyward Sword's art style, in my opinion. And that just holds true for Tears of the Kingdom. And I think even though the game, you look at it first glance and it still looks like Breath of the Wild, I think that's absolutely fine.
Why was that mentioned?
Because you were talking about how graphically you don't like playing things on Switch. Yeah. It was just before the show started. You had mentioned about how it's hard for you to play games on Switch.
Oh yeah, I avoid playing all
and
Switch games in general because I think all of them look like ass.
It's really unfortunate.
So I just don't play my Switch unless I want to play like Mario Kart. Like, but other than that, and like I just don't. I'm sure it's a fun game, but I just can't do it. I can't deal with the constant frame rate drops. I can't deal with the games chugging on this fucking Nokia brick of a console. Like I'd rather just not do it. Like
To be fair, with Tears of the Kingdom, it's been very rare for me. Like, it's only been in
Yeah,
one
this is not a
spot.
Scarlet situation or something.
Yeah.
I feel like the only time I've ever noticed anything was in dropping from the sky, where there's been certain moments, but I don't even think that's like a frame drop thing. I assumed it was like a loading screen thing, where if you're dropping from like a tower and you're going all the way down to the ground and you dive too fast, that sometimes I'll notice like not a freeze necessarily, but things do tend to like slow down a little bit. And I assumed it wasn't a frame drop. I just literally assumed it was the game loading up the rest of the world.
I feel like that kind of happens in general in situations where you just move a little bit too quickly. So the game is having a bit of a hard time keeping up.
That was my experience too. When I was moving too fast or too much was on the screen at once, started lagging a little bit, but in general it's okay.
And just to clarify, performance is not the reason why I'm not playing this game. Like, I don't know, I have to, because people don't listen to every show, obviously. I just don't like Legend of Zelda shit. That's the main reason.
You've never been a Zelda person.
I just don't like that shit. So that's really it. But I would be more inclined to play it if it wasn't on the Switch. But because it's on the Switch, I'm never touching it, respectfully.
I wasn't really a Zelda person either before Breath of the Wild dropped. I tried playing Twilight Princess. Is that the one where you can turn into a wolf?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried playing that one, and I think I had fun, but I didn't stick to it. And then, of course, when I got my hashtag free product Nintendo Switch 2-3 weeks early with the game, you know what I'm saying? That was the only game I had to play, so I played it. I was like, hold on. So that's when I became a Zelda person, when Breath of the Wild.
I mean, I'm not mad. I never speak about the quality of these games because I haven't played them, so that would be ignorant for me to say that they're at. I'm just saying.
I do also feel like, you know, touching on what Shofu said very briefly, though, I do think there is a section of people that never really played Zelda before, didn't really like Zelda, but now really like this series because of Breath of the Wild. Which is another reason why I think it was so smart that they decided to make the continuation in this world. I'm like, not only can you see this just in terms of like anecdotal evidence, but like this is something that I don't know if did we touch on the new Nintendo financials on the last episode? Because I know it's been a couple weeks because we had a break week. So essentially, Breath of the Wild prior to this was the best-selling Zelda game of all time. Like, and not even close. Like by a significant margin, it was the best-selling Zelda game of all time with nearly 30 million copies sold. And again, I think that's a testament to you don't necessarily need to be a Zelda fan to enjoy Breath of the Wild. It very much feels like its own thing. Not to say that the core DNA of the franchise isn't there, but like again, I think there's a lot of people who never played one until now.
It's the least Zelda game.
I pulled up to Breath of the Wild with not a well. Obviously, I knew who Zelda and Link were, and I knew Ganon.
Because it's Smash and stuff.
Yeah, I knew the basics, but I didn't know a single piece of lore from any Zelda game ever when I pulled up to Breath of the Wild, and I played that game for 25 hours the first time I booted it up on stream. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, I'm sure that it's like it's a lot of reasons why I don't play the game. That's why I don't like. You know, like it's a lot of reasons. Like it's on the Switch. I don't like Zelda in general. I hate silent protagonists. I can keep going. Like it's just so I just don't play it. But I'm not gonna sit here and say this game ass because I haven't played it. That's really all it is.
Of course. I guess
I'm glad my friends are having fun. I'm glad my friends are having fun.
No, I seen somebody say the $70 price tag is the only gripe everyone can agree on.
It was 70? Really?
I don't agree with that because there's an astronomical amount of content in the game, and that's not the standard for games. There's way more content in that game than probably most games ever. So
I paid $100.
I think we even had this exact discussion on the show a couple weeks ago, didn't we? Because we were talking about the old.
They got to start charging for how much content is. Why is Smash Bros $60? And I always say that Black Clover game is $60 too, bro.
He always brings up
because that game is fucking caught.
Look, bro. All I know is Redfall came out, and that shit's $70 too, and that game don't even work.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't get me started on that shit, man.
You buy Tears of the Kingdom, you can play that shit for 3 years and probably still see new shit the whole time. You can't be mad. I mean, you can be mad at it, but I wouldn't say it's not worth $70.
No. I think the other thing, like we brought this up on one of the previous shows, I think people also tend to forget like how expensive games were when we were growing up. Because like the Super Nintendo N64, I guess I'm aging myself a little bit, or like Shofu too, but like Super Nintendo and N64 games were that expensive. They were absolutely that expensive. If you go back and look at old, Target flyers or Walmart or whatever, people were buying
Bro.
Tetris Attack on
Which is why I had a
SNES for,
Sega
like,
Genesis.
No.
brother.
Imagine paying like $60 for some Daikatana shit, you know?
That's what
Like,
I'm saying, man. Exactly. So I feel like
you had less information when you bought games. Significantly less. You
Yeah.
used to just have to kind of, especially if you were like on PlayStation, like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, like
Definitely.
when they were shitting
bro,
out games
no.
every week.
Not even then. Like, imagine fucking NES days where you barely know shit about.
Bro, you don't know
fucking,
shit about
anything.
nothing.
Yeah.
When games were marketed by longevity, by being hard, where it was
Yes.
just like dumb difficulty to make you play longer. Like, that shit was dumb.
I mean, that's
And all you had to
literally
go
what
by
it
was
was.
the
Yeah, it was
box art?
artificial length because they would just make the game way
Exactly.
more hard than
Yeah.
it needs to be. Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. But again, I understand people getting mad though in a situation where it's a game that, like Chofu brought up, like the Black Clover game. It's a really good example.
No,
Like,
the
that
people who
should
are
not-
mad, get your money up.
No. That's definitely a normal thing to be mad about.
Yeah.
No,
Something
I
being more
think-
expensive out of nowhere is definitely like not something that people
It's not
welcome.
not-
necessarily
it's not
out of
out of
nowhere.
It's not out of
You
nowhere.
know what
I mean,
I don't
it
mean
does
that.
feel
I don't mean
so.
that
I mean-
literally. I'm just saying like the standard game is $60 and now this one's $70.
In
It's
order-
definitely like
In order to keep your money up, you have to spend smart, right? So even if you have a lot of money, you still don't want to spend $70 on
That's what I'm
something that you're
saying.
going to play for 2 hours and say is terrible, unless you're stupid. But for the most part,
We've talked about like pricing in video games for literally like 2 years. Like this is it comes up every and
Yeah,
we always come to the same conclusion. Like, it's all about value. It's all about whether or not you think you
Yeah, I've
can
been
get
saying that.
$70 worth of. I know
you're gonna
that's what
buy
I'm-
the game or you're not gonna buy the game. Is it worth
Like-
it to you? That's for you to decide.
Like,
for me,
to
this game is $70 easy.
Bro, okay, so like for me, like I forget how much is Darkest Dungeon 2. This game just came out and it's $40, bro. I'd pay $60 for Darkest Dungeon 2.
Right.
The game came out on the 8th. I'll tell you right now how many hours I got. I got 17 hours already. And I work like just this. Like, it's just all about value.
If anything, I say pick your games more sparingly if the cost
Yes,
is going to
correct.
going to upset you that much.
Yo,
Don't
talk
spend
that
money. Don't
financially
spend money on
responsible.
dick ass games that you don't care for.
Talk that fiscally responsible shit.
If you have a problem
one
with game prices are going to rise. It's inevitable.
Of
So,
course.
of course,
the one,
you adjust
the one that I'm
accordingly.
always surprised by in terms of like how expensive it is versus how cheap it is, I'm always surprised that Cuphead with the DLC is $20. That game, I would happily pay $60 for Cuphead.
But that's because
That
it
is
takes
one of the most
the
beautiful,
average
amazing
person.
games. Yeah.
It takes the average person a while to beat that game because obviously there's a learning
course, of
curve.
course.
But if you really
course.
look at Cuphead, that game is like 20 minutes long.
Oh yeah, you're in and out real quick.
So they can't
But
I
just
guess
feel
they
like
can't
the
in good
quality-
faith charge you $60
No.
for a game with not that much
No.
content for it.
I think for me it was always just like being blown away by the quality of the animations and the music and how much production value's in there. Like, I think Hades is another really good example. Hades is like
Yo,
$20 too, and that game you could just sit and
That's a
play
$60 game minimum.
Oh, easy, yeah,
Easy.
yeah, yeah.
Well, actually, no. I don't want to segue if y'all still talking. Keep going.
No. I mean, it's same topic. I guess.
No, I was gonna
want to
switch off
bring
for
it
Breath of
back.
the Wild, so you go.
Okay, so let's stick on Tears of the Kingdom for a little bit.
Yeah.
A couple other things, real quick. One, because I noticed she's in the thumbnail image for this week. We have Purra.
Bro.
Did people just not play Age of Calamity? Like, I'm.
Bro.
This
assuming
is not her
people did
design in
play
Age of Calamity.
I did
This
not
looks
finish that
exactly
game,
like
bro.
her.
No, it doesn't. It's not. It's not all the same. It's completely
Wait,
different.
could you link me?
Let me pull it
Let
up
me
on
see this.
Google.com.
Regardless, I do not get the hype. I don't get why
I
she's
don't-
It's
I
trying
don't
because they
get it.
didn't expect her to look
get it.
like that after she took them ugly ass glasses off, man. And no, she
I also think people were just
wait,
expecting
do
her
they-
to
do
be
they-
the kid
do they-
version
do
again.
First, though,
Do they
right?
do the
Because
anime
Purra-
thing? Do they do the anime thing? Where she takes off her glasses and she looks like a completely different
When
person?
you first see her,
No,
she has
no,
these
no,
weird
but-
goggles on.
Oh, okay.
The one that we're seeing in the thumbnail, right? That's her with the glasses on. But the one in Hyrule Warriors, it's that, but her glasses are up. That's the only difference. She has her
No,
glasses
The
on.
outfit is
She-
the outfit is completely
She
different.
looks different. She has
Really?
a different hairstyle.
Yes.
She has her face looks. She looks different for sure. But she looks similar enough. I can tell it's the same
Yeah,
character.
I was gonna say I could definitely knew it was the same person.
Yeah. I don't think they just didn't expect it to look so cutesy like that. I guess, I don't know.
It
I
was
just think a lot of
really
people going
thirsty
into
over here.
this.
It's wild.
I just think a lot of people going into this thought we get the kid Burrow again from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's right. Where she like de-aged herself or whatever because of her experiments.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got rid
I
of that.
kind of
That's
wiped
good.
Age of Calamity from my brain, to be honest. So I didn't even remember her in that game.
Yeah, I liked. Oh, you're saying you tried to remove it from your brain?
I didn't
thought you
try
said
to
you liked
remove it. I played that game for a bit and I didn't give a fuck about it after a while, and then I just didn't
It
remember
was
anything.
passively removed from his
Yeah,
brain.
yeah.
There you go.
Shit was malware.
It wasn't malware.
No, in your brain, obviously it was. This shit got cleaned the fuck out.
So the other thing I'm kind of curious about with everybody in the call who's been playing, have any of you done any of the quote unquote dungeons yet?
No,
Or have you just been
I've
doing
done
tries?
one.
Are you saying okay? So define what you mean. Do you mean like
I
old
mean, like,
Zelda
the-
style dungeons? Or are we
I
talking
mean the
about?
Zelda style dungeons, yeah.
No, I'm on my way to the real.
Okay, I'm on my way to the first one as well. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
What I will tell you is you can go. Okay, so this is like, it's not a story spoiler or anything, but if you went to Hyrule Castle, which you have to, obviously, you should go back there. Go back there. There's a way to actually go into a part that you were in Breath of the Wild. There's hard enemies in there, but there's good loot, and there is a cave. That cave takes you from the Hyrule Castle all the way to the lookout landing, underground the entire time. I was in there for like 3 hours. It's giant.
So you immediately went to the underground then. This wasn't something that you
No.
waited to do.
So okay, that's not even the depths. That's what I was like. It's a cave that's under the you're still on the surface, but you're in a cave, and the cave is 3 hours long all the way through. And it has enemies, it's really strong enemies in there the whole way through.
It's probably
It's
not
really
3
cool.
hours. It's just you took your time.
I didn't.
I know what you mean, but
No. I'm not trying to play hyperbole. Normally, I do take my time to explore around. I didn't. I
you
went back
sprinted
one
through the
time.
entire thing.
I wasn't sprinting, but I was working my way through the entire thing. It's I'm not joking. It's giant. It's pretty
Wow.
crazy how big it is.
I've been spending most of my time there's a lot of clothes you can collect, and I've been getting a lot of that in my inventory and doing a lot of quests for that because I don't know, I like the clothes in this have been really cool to collect, and a lot of the amiibos, the Zelda amiibos that you can get, like the Link's Awakening one and the new one that came out, get you some cool costumes. So I was also thinking about buying some amiibos.
Get you some amiibo.
Do you know what amiibo? Is it just the
Amiibo.
Zelda ones that give you them? Because I have a couple.
The Zelda ones give you specific items. They don't always give you the outfits, but they can give you paraglider cloths or
okay.
like specific things that aren't just cooking ingredients and stuff like that. But you can get, for instance, the Link's Awakening amiibo. You can get the Link's Awakening costume.
Oh, that's kind of
From the
cool, actually. I
amiibo,
like
yeah.
that. I know there's definitely ways, though, to get... Because I remember that being an issue with the original Breath of the Wild, and this is one, I guess, very minor spoiler, so just keep that in mind if you really don't want to know anything, skip ahead 2 minutes. But I've heard that the Majora's Mask that was in Breath of the Wild that was previously, tied to an amiibo or something is now available via fighting a Lionel in the underground.
Yeah,
That you can get it, but it's a
not
super
all
difficult
the
fight.
not
Oh,
all of
that's
the
cool.
costumes are locked through the amiibo. You can get them.
Yeah.
You can still get them in the game, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, it's not like excuse me. Yeah, people were saying the Majora's Mask was DLC, so it's not exclusive. Basically, it's something that you could just get in the game. They popped it in there, which I actually
But
think
the
is pretty
amiibos
cool.
just make it nicer.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Okay.
Honestly, they should have done that before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know why they didn't do it before, but I think that's great that they're actually doing that where you can get the stuff.
So one thing I'll say, speaking of super hard enemies, so Lionels used to be the pinnacle of Breath of the Wild because the overworld boss, sub bosses, weren't really that special. They weren't really that hard. Yeah, there's one that I found and fought and beaten. This is pretty crazy.
Dude, I was like, while I was streaming, I was talking about how, like, sometimes I would randomly like turn corners in some areas, and there'd be this giant like boss monster, and I'd just be taken back. I was like, completely unexpected, and then I was sitting like, just in a field, and I was thinking to myself, man, I haven't really seen any Lionels, whatever. And I was thinking, man, they might have removed him or some shit like that. And then literally as I finished that thought, I see a Lionel pull up on me and just body me. I'm like, well, okay, I'm getting this Zelda experience now.
Yeah, the first Lionel I fought was in the depths, and I had 3 hearts. So it was because like literally I did that pit Royal Palace secret entrance, whatever it's called, and then I went into the depths. I had 3 hearts the whole time, and like I went all the way to the bottom edge of the depths, doing a whole quest line down there.
Did you get the like? I want to ask you stuff about the depths, but like I don't want to spoil any. Is it really a spoiler?
So it's like ability AB, right? You're asking about that.
The what?
Okay, no, you're not probably not asking what I'm thinking.
I know I didn't hear you.
AB, an ability name with the initial.
No,
AB.
It's an item.
AB.
Like I'm trying not to spoil it, but yes, go into the depths.
I know what you're talking about, but
yes.
no, I'm talking about something else, and I don't know if
I have no idea what you're talking about at all.
There is if you go to the Hyrule Castle in one portion of it, near the docks, there's a really cool item you can get from a chest.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I haven't been there yet.
Yeah,
but I remember that from the original game. So I think
while you brought that up, one thing that I got that was really cool, that I was just curious, and I wasn't streaming it or anything when I did this. I was just like playing off camera, relaxing. Is I wanted to go back to the Great Plateau, because obviously like Breath of the Wild starts there, the original game, and I was like, I wonder if there's going to be anything there, like any special thing in the Great Plateau. And I went back to like the Temple of Time. And I ascended because now you don't need to climb everything. I just ascended to the top of the temple, and I got a cool item there. So if you guys are playing the game and you want to go to the
do that now because I didn't actually. I went back, but I didn't ascend. I just went. Yep. Like I just went there. So I'm gonna.
You have to go about it a weird way because the Temple of Time's like kind of ruined a little bit over the like however many years it's been since Breath of the Wild. And so there's certain parts of the roof that you can't ascend up, but there's basically like a puzzle that you can do to ascend your way to the roof. And you really don't even, you don't even need a lot of stamina for it. You could just get right up there. And I did it pretty early on, and I'm really glad that I did that because just as I thought like, oh, they're going to put something here to be like, oh, you remember this area. They did, and it was totally worth it, and I enjoyed it. So
you know what I love about the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? They really get you thinking with your environment and like puzzle pieces and how they introduce new things to you and get you to use your brain and figure shit out compared to like a lot of the other games that kind of just give you, hey, here's this little tutorial box, here's some dialogue, this is how you do it, go do it now. With Tears of the Kingdom, I've like actively had to think, oh yeah, I just got this thing, maybe they want me to do something with this. And so that's something I've really appreciated playing so far, is the less handholdy type of gameplay.
I like it too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all context clues. So they gave you the tools and they kind of set up stuff in front of you, and then it's up to you to figure out how to use your tools to complete things.
It's also interesting too when you think about the jump from the game prior to Breath of the Wild, right? Like removing, I guess Link Between Worlds would have been the other one in between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild, but removing Link Between Worlds from it, like the last console Zelda prior to Breath of the Wild was Skyward Sword, and that game was the most handholdy video game I've ever played in my life, with Fi telling you everywhere to go. Not to say the game isn't fun, and I feel like they made some improvements with the HD version, but I also feel like there were a lot of things in that didn't need to be there, and I felt like they kept over-explaining things to me. Whereas Breath of the Wild kind of just like dropped you in the world, and like you just mentioned, I feel that even more with Tears of the Kingdom. I feel like going through the Great Plateau again, if you're ever looking to replay Breath of the Wild, I do feel like there's certain tutorial beats that you have to hit, whereas that early environment on the Sky Island at the very beginning of this game, I felt was great because not only could you go any direction that you wanted to go in to complete the shrines, but I also felt like it was a lot of fun just gliding and trying to figure out like what island I wanted to go on, right? Like the fact that it was in the sky as opposed to just being like a plateau on the ground separated it and added an extra level of danger to it that I think the Great Plateau didn't have earlier.
The one thing I'm a little perturbed about with this is I wish they made a little check to see if you had Breath of the Wild save data on your Switch to just skip over some of the tutorials that you would have like learned from that just to like save you a little bit of time from sitting through stuff. I
It's
know
kind of
there's
funny.
some things.
Yeah,
they do
'cause
check. Yeah.
yeah, it checks the horses that you had in
Yeah, I
Breath
know
of the
there's
Wild.
some things, but like there's like tutorials on how to like I don't know, like very basic like here's how stamina works, stuff like that. Like I know how it works. I played Breath of the Wild. Like I don't really need that. I wish I didn't have to sit through it. Another thing I wish I had was more control over my settings. Like I wish I was able to change my camera. I wish I was able to remap my settings, you know. Just some small stuff that really isn't going to affect the overall experience of the game. It's just stuff I wish I had access to.
I wanted to mention something real quick too, which I guess like if you're listening to this and you haven't played yet or you're debating playing and you need like a little tip for when you're playing for the first time, something I would highly recommend, and I recommended the same thing with Breath of the Wild. There's a point in the game in which you can start upgrading your hearts and your stamina with these little lights that you get, these blessings that you get from the shrines.
Fuck a heart.
I highly recommend, exactly. Forget about the hearts, go straight for the stamina. Because even just having one extra stamina wheel in this game has opened up so much. Exploring the shrines, like going all over the place, climbing up mountains. Obviously, you got to be careful. You know, you can't get hit. But I also feel like you're already trying to be careful because of the weapons breaking constantly. You don't want to immediately use all your weapons. So definitely go for stamina if you can. Obviously, you start adding hearts once you feel like you can as well. But at least fill out that first full stamina wheel before you start going.
If you're planning on going to the underground, then get some hearts for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well there you go.
I went down there without it, and it was an
And that's
adventure.
why I ain't gone down there yet. I knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still do it. I did
No.
it. Like, I want to talk about that area so bad, but I'll just talk about. I won't talk about everything down there, but I'll just like a little bit.
Sure.
I spent so much time.
What we're doing? The next episode's 2 weeks from now. I'm sure by then people will be there. We could talk about it next show.
I'll just talk about just one thing that I think is cool with that area. That's not really a spoiler. So the biggest thing and the reason I could go down there is because I did that dungeon, like that cave system, and you need those like glowing like little flower things. And in other caves, you just throw them. An enemy will look to them, right? But when you're in the underground, when you're in the underground, it is like literally pitch black until you like light something that will light up an area. But those flowers, you can throw them, and it actually just carves out the darkness to an area where you can see. And so like actually pushing forward and actually creating light where I can move through the area. It's so sick. Like I love it.
Even better, you can fire them off of arrows.
Yeah, and you just fire them off into the distance to see more around you. Like you should, like most of you know me, I don't like horror stuff. So going down there at first, like I don't know about this.
Sure.
I started doing that, and it was like,
Bro,
okay, this is so cool.
I did not want to go down there at first. I got so scared.
It's legitimately scary if you can't see anything and you don't have enough equipment and you don't know where you're going. Yeah, of course. I guess the other thing too. First off, by the way, I also want to introduce Warchamp. Warchamp, I saw you just joined. Welcome. But the other thing I want to say too is like even from that initial tutorial area where you get introduced to like using the wings for the first time, or just some of the other like items that are laying around the world, the weird little like Zonai artifact things. It's been so fun getting the capsules and then figuring out like how to use each of those things in situations you wouldn't necessarily think you would use them, or like just summoning them in a place that you didn't think you would be able to, and then going to a different area or exploring something. It's a blast.
You got to go to the depths. I'll try not to say, but you just got to go to the depths.
How deep are we going into spoiler stuff?
Just
nothing
like
story
first
related.
3 days, nothing story related. Yeah, so not really too much in terms of spoilers.
I've played 10 whole minutes.
Oh, you're good then. You're good.
I've been very busy.
On God, bro, I want to play too. Damn it.
I kind of feel that's everyone's situation right now. It came out like late spring, beginning of summertime. Like lots of stuff is going on. Lots of stuff is going to be coming out. So I feel like people want to get their playtime in before Street Fighter and before Final Fantasy 16.
Oh my God, Street Fighter
And it's
dropping.
like,
Diablo.
There's
Too many
just so
games.
much. I mean,
Bro,
really, like when you
fitness
think about all the
before
good
Diablo
stuff
for
that's
sure.
coming out,
Bro, that's what
Man,
I'm going to be busy
Diablo?
that weekend.
Right.
Damn it.
man, there's a lot of stuff.
Real quick, any WoW players in chat? Anyone watching the Race to World First this past week?
I watched it. It's good.
Where my gang at?
So what exactly is Race to World First, real quick, not to go off on too
So
much of a-
whenever a new raid in the game comes out, there's 3 difficulties. There's normal, heroic, and mythic. And whenever the mythic difficulty releases, there's a race between all of the top guilds in the world to see who can beat it first. And it takes anywhere from like 6 to 12 days to actually beat it. These guys
Wow.
are playing like 12, 14 hours a day.
Oh
it's
my
it's
god.
really it's really tough. But we've been partnered with one of the guilds, the top North American guild, since 6 raids ago. So we've done 6 races with them, and they fucking won this time, baby. We're back.
What's that got to do with Zelda?
Done.
That's why he has. This is why he has to
Roger,
play.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You really gonna hit me with the who asked? Roger just
I
asked.
was just kidding, man.
I was curious.
Bro, I'm in LA right now, Shofu. I will come square the fuck up right now.
Okay, and like, what the fuck? You gonna square it with a big
Fine.
block? Man?
Step out your house. Come on.
Yo, what?
Huh?
You said you'll square up with the
Show
block?
you?
Is that
I didn't
what
say nothing.
Huh?
Shofu's careful, man.
Bang, bang.
I'm in Santa Monica. Let's go right now.
Fuck out of War Chip, bro.
Okay, see, that's the thing you don't understand, though, Warchep. Not to dox our locations, but like Santa Monica is not where me and Shofu are. Like we're far. You can't just like suddenly show up here from Santa Monica.
No,
You gotta
nothing is
plan
far.
ahead.
There's just traffic.
Bet.
Okay, but it's traffic. You're right. It's not far, but
I got
you'd have to
I
plan.
got Uber and deep pockets.
Ooh.
Okay, all right,
talk
well.
to him then.
No,
I'm
but
still
for real,
in
I'm here
my
until
jammies,
Friday.
though, so-
Okay.
Friday's good though. We'll keep that in mind.
Going
One
back to
was,
Nintendo World
you-
with sunlight.
There you go.
Dude, I have my wristband. I'm actually down.
I just went again. Yeah, I went last.
Roger's
last
been
Wednesday. It was
45
fun.
times already, bro. This shit
No,
is
no.
crazy.
Okay, but,
I've
okay,
only
but let's
been
go for
3.
all.
That's
I've
cap.
only been 3.
Every
No.
time I get on Instagram, I see Roger.
Roger's been there at least 10 times minimum. But Shofu, you better
I
not be
promise-
going back with without a damn wristband, bro. We were suffering out there, bro. Oh, yo.
Oh yeah. You
Speaking
gotta
of
have the wristband.
speaking of fucking Nintendo World, not to detract, but we watched
no,
a
no.
video.
Oh my
fucking
god, bro!
All the
we watched the
food they
video
got-
of all the food they got in
my-
the Japanese Nintendo World, bro. They're shitting on America,
Bro, we are
It's
getting
crazy.
shit on.
It's not right. It's really
It's
not
I
right.
will
crazy.
say one quick thing that differed from the first time that we were there. They had these
weather.
really good boba drinks, well, the weather too. But the boba drinks that they added that are outside the park. So there's basically there's like a Peach, a Luigi, and a Mario boba drink that they added. That's right outside before you go through the warp pipe. It is really, really good. It was easily the best thing food-wise that they had there. I only had the Luigi one. I haven't tried the Mario or the
Bro,
Peach
that's
one, but
cap,
the Luigi
bro.
one was like a green apple one. I'm telling you, it
You
was
telling me it
delicious.
was better than the half a bell pepper sandwich?
So you tell me it was better
definitely
than
the half bell pepper
no.
sandwich.
There's no way it was better. It was no way it was better than my
100%
cold ass
it was.
garlic knots, bro. There was no way
No.
it was better than my frozen ass
That was
garlic
also-
knots.
They put
That was
5
also
slices
lovely,
of
because the
green
second
bell pepper
The
on your
second
burger.
time that I went there, I remember you telling me you were like underwhelmed by the garlic knots, the cold garlic knots. And the second time I went there, I just went really quickly for lunch. Like it wasn't even a full visit. I just went to go see a couple friends that were in town.
Bro pulled
And I
up for
went
lunch.
to-
You going to Nintendo World for lunch?
for
bro?
lunch?
Nah, he different.
You're different. You're different for that. That's crazy.
Fucking wild.
One,
That's
it's down
great.
the street. It's down the street. 2, I got an annual pass, so I can go whenever. It's not
There's
like
the
I'm not
flex
paying
as
for it.
usual.
Yeah,
God damn it.
yeah,
bro.
it was just a matter
I'm
of
just
time.
saying.
It was just a matter
It's
of
down
time.
the street. I got an annual pass. I can go whenever I
I
want.
can
I can go whenever I
Looking at
want,
it,
bro.
What
I'm
is
close to
this?
Nintendo
I'm
World
not
whenever I
trying to
want.
flex.
Unlike you poors, like I get it. Like,
You guys asked him for that one. That's not his fault.
But when I wasn't.
I didn't ask him.
What
I said you went for lunch.
the second-
Either way.
Time I went, the
He
second
had to
time I
justify
went,
it.
I will say, in defense of the garlic knots, not only were they more garlicky, they were not cold. They were
Okay,
good.
so they're racist. Got
The
it. All
second
right, moving
time.
on.
Whoa.
They could be.
Got it.
They could very well be racist. I don't know.
Oh my
You're
Just
right.
saying,
They
like,
could
this
be.
is the,
I'm
just
not
making,
sure.
I have enough information.
I mean, you know as well as I do. I have no idea. I do not know the
No, I'm
employees
saying,
who
I'm
work at the kitchen.
I'm just
They
saying,
very
like,
well
like,
could be.
well, they
I
know
don't
me, I guess.
Look, man, your
Yeah,
shit was
I'm
just
not
sitting out for
sure.
a while, Tito. It was nothing personal, man.
Nah,
my
I'm
garlic
good.
knots were cold too.
I don't give a
For
fuck.
real, though?
When we went to Nintendo World, the line to get into the restaurant was like an hour and a half.
was
And when I
bad.
made my reservation and I went for lunch that one time, I was in and out in 25 minutes.
This is a flex
Yeah.
again.
Because everybody knows the food is trash now. It's not a surprise
This
anymore.
maybe it's that. But the food was better.
It's not trash,
The
though.
second time I felt.
No,
it's not. It's
it was
not-
it was okay. It
a lot
wasn't
of it's
bad.
generic.
It was okay.
I think it's
Especially if
generic.
you
It's
love
For
green
me,
bell
because
pepper.
because it seemed like they went out of their way to make each
Right.
dish unique in some way, I thought it would also be good on top of that.
Right.
But it was just okay. But it wasn't bad.
The
I
mush-
won't- I won't say
the
it was
mush-
bad.
the mushroom soup was
having
decent.
tried yes, I was gonna say, having tried things again, the mushroom soup is still very good. It's by far the best basic thing on the menu. The mushroom soup is very good, but if you don't like mushrooms, you're shit out of luck. I like the sugary cupcake that a lot of people didn't like. They said it was
So
too
about that
sweet.
shit that's like
Bro, it
90% frosting.
yeah, there's too much frosting. It's not about the sweetness
See,
of the
I liked
frosting. It was
that,
just
actually. I liked the peach one. But I also, nobody got the tiramisu when we were there the first time.
They didn't
The
have
little
it.
Ziploc
They
one?
didn't have
They-
it.
they
didn't
ran
have it.
out.
It was
But I
out.
got it the second time and it was excellent.
you did.
So I
Of
would
course
say
you
the
did.
tiramisu was good.
They didn't have that. They
I'm
didn't
angry.
have spaghetti and meatballs.
Roger just knows the chef, man.
Yeah.
Like I just,
I wanna
he's just
get the
homies.
spaghetti.
Like he just
Chef
knows
Toad and I
Toad. He
were
just
on a-
pulls
we're
out
on a
Toad like,
first name
wow.
basis.
The
Yeah,
the
right.
mushroom soup was like legitimately good. The burger was just a burger. It wasn't bad. It was just a burger.
No, it was
But
fine.
the mushroom
Yeah, it
soup was
fine.
good.
Okay, but
No,
that
no, no,
Luigi
no,
burger though.
No. Shovo didn't have a burger. He had a green bell pepper sandwich with a side
With
of
chicken.
beef
I
patty.
wasn't the only one that got that sandwich.
It
bro.
Whatever
wasn't
the
even a
fuck
beef
he got.
patty. I had the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it as well.
I did.
And there was
It's literally
legitimately a
half
there was a
bell pepper
legitimately a
and grilled
2-inch
chicken.
slice of fucking
That's it.
bell pepper on my sandwich, bro.
Yeah, it was.
That
bell
yeah, that
pepper,
was
grilled
actually just
chicken,
half a
and
bell
pesto.
pepper.
That was it. Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
No, but for real, Roger, when I was like packing
Yes.
my backpack for this trip, like my like Toad bracelet was still in the one pocket, and I left it in there. I know
That's
I
good.
did. I left it in there. I
Yeah,
didn't. I
I'll
brought it
get
with me
one
because
to
I'm
you
just like,
again.
you know
That's
what?
good.
If I got
Yeah.
some free time, like
Y'all-
I might swing by again.
Go.
So
No,
if
y'all
you're
never
free-
The
catching
other
up.
thing is too, since that, when I went last Wednesday, I will say the lines are way better. The line
Oh,
the
yeah.
second time I went was worse than when we went. Because when we went, it was raining and kind of like sleety.
It was a
Kept some
hurricane.
people
Second
out.
time
We
that I
know.
went, it was literally nightmarish. Like I went and it was just children everywhere. I wanted to get the hell out of there quick. Way too many people. This third time that I went last Wednesday, not only was it not really busy at all, the Mario Kart line was 15 minutes. I was
Damn.
in and out. And on top of that, if you did single rider, you could just like pretty much immediately go on. And single rider wasn't even an option when we went. But basically, when you're walking through that Yoshi area in the queue line for Mario Kart, like, you know, there's like the cave, the Yoshi area, the Bowser Castle area, and then you actually get on the ride.
Yeah.
Basically, the Yoshi area, you open up to it when you're walking through that initial like gateway. There's a door that goes to the right that says single rider on top. You walk up a staircase, and then at the end of the staircase, you're in the room where they give you the goggles, and you're already at the Bowser area. So you bypass like all of the queue line, which admittedly, if you haven't seen it, is really cool. But if you just want to ride the ride and just have fun, you can get on that ride in like 10 minutes now. It's super
So
quick.
you got to go on a weekday during the day when all the kids
That's
are at
right.
school.
I mean, it was a
Middle of the week.
Wednesday.
By yourself.
You gotta pick a
By
school day.
yourself.
And it was
By
great.
yourself.
Yeah. I had a good
Well,
time. Yeah.
At least it is, that was better they did that than when we went on the ride that shall not be named. Had to
Oh,
walk
right,
through that
correct,
entire
correct,
thing to get to it. With no one there.
Correct. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, we don't talk about that part of the park. That part of the park is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't go there.
I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't go on that ride.
Yeah.
My mistake. I think it's something else.
I don't want to hang out for too much Tears of
Yeah.
the Kingdom talk, but also there's like the fucking after show stuff that's happening here, so I can't stay too long. But Roger, if you do want to go to Nintendo World again this week, let me know.
I will
I'm down.
absolutely let you know
100%.
for sure.
Because
For
like
sure.
we're done early. Normally we wouldn't expect this thing to die until Wednesday, Thursday, and it's dead today. So like we're tearing down tomorrow. We're done. I got 4 days until Friday to just do whatever the fuck I want.
what
So
I
that's
like to
great.
hear.
And then
I
Tears
will
of the Kingdom,
definitely
I
let you know
don't
that.
have much to say because I've been so busy with this show. I'm literally 10 minutes in. I've done the first shrine. I've been like working my way towards the second one, and like that's it. But one of my friends has been sending me like non-spoiler clips of stuff and just like the the constructions that he's putting together, I'm just like, I'm in so much fucking danger with this game. Like, this is going to
Dude,
eat up so many
I
hours
saw a
of my
clip
life.
today
Yeah.
of someone
Twitter
literally
already, it's
like a
unbelievable.
full weaponized mecha robot. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
what
I
the
saw that.
fuck
Yeah.
is going on?
My buddy basically made one of those too, and I'm just like, I'm in so much trouble. I'm going to spend so many hours like doing like dumb shit like that. Like, there's going to be some puzzle that requires me to make like a fucking boat out of like a log and a sail or something. It's going to be like a 5-second affair, and I'm going to spend 3 hours constructing like a fucking yacht that's like motorized or some shit, just because like my brain's just like, yeah,
You
fine,
can.
challenge,
I
yeah,
saw
let's do
someone
it.
do. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a tweet where a guy made a literal Trojan horse, where he built the horse and then
Yeah.
he like set the thing off, ascended to the inside of the horse, and then busted through the gates of like one of the enemy strongholds. It was so cool. Just type in Trojan horse.
You know
Tears
what?
of the Kingdom,
Let's-
you'll find it. It was so
let's
good.
not ignore the elephant in the room. We've all seen the Firecock monster, right?
Hey,
Of course.
yo!
The
Of course,
what?
of course. The fire appendage guy. Yeah,
No,
for sure.
I haven't seen this. Way to spoil
I've
it.
seen it.
All right, I
Yo,
found the
you
Trojan
won't
horse
find it
video.
in the game, by the way.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Someone
oh.
made it. The other thing I also find fascinating is the internet's obsession with torturing the poor little Koroks.
No,
I
they
that
don't
deserve
know
it.
shit's
why
so
people are
fucking funny.
crucifying- They're crucifying the Koroks. Literally
That
putting
shit
them on
is so
crosses
fucking funny
and
to
then
me, though.
Dead people sick. Like
They're getting their medieval torture devices going on and just fucking ruining these
With these poor little
Koroks.
baby Koroks,
Nah, they
man.
deserve it.
Bro, no fucking way this guy did this shit, bro.
Oh, are you looking at the Trojan horse thing right now?
Why
Yeah,
did
yeah,
he
yeah.
even do that? Why?
It's so good,
For
man.
what, bro?
Yeah, it's
One of my
great.
favorite things is someone like, so there's like springs that just go up and activate. And I was like, what can I really use these for? It's like launching someone. Someone used them as shocks and put wheels to them and actually was
Oh
riding a
my
cart
God.
over rocks and stuff. It's like, that
that's
was
so
so
good.
cool.
This is what I mean. I'm in so much danger for shit like that. I'm
Oh,
the stuff I'm
man.
going to construct. I'm gonna dump 1,000 hours of this game. I can already fucking feel it, and I'm terrified about that.
The other thing is too, real quick, like in addition to all the stuff that you can construct, like the little Zonai devices, again, like the fire emitter or the laser beams or something, that just adds a whole nother level to it too. Because I feel like you then make this robot and you can have laser beams coming out of its hands that are activated via a switch that you just hit temporarily, fire coming out of its mouth, or the appendage or whatever coast. You have this thing walking using like the
I gotta say, bro, out of its fucking cock, bro.
Hey, yo!
It's really, really wild that people are already coming up with after like 3 days. So I'm
Nah,
so excited
I'm not-
to see like,
I'm
what
not
people are gonna do in
surprised.
playthroughs.
I am not surprised after the first day of Breath of the Wild being out, with people showing their clips of their movement and what they were doing on
Bro.
enemies and all of
Im-
that. I'm
Imagine what this
not
game's gonna look
surprised.
like in 3 months, bro. People are
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
it's gonna be
yeah.
it's gonna be nuts.
crazy shit.
It's gonna be insane.
Something simple, but it's like, it's actually really good. So shield surfing's obviously still there. You can put a minecart on your shield, and when you shield surf, you'll ride on the minecart's wheels.
Yeah, so
What
What I've been
That's
doing,
solid.
what I've been doing is I've been putting springs on my shield so that I can shield jump with the spring to get over like things I'm not supposed to be.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's a good
Actually, I
one.
like that too.
I just recently saw that you can put a rocket on the shield, and he'll just fly
Yeah.
up with the
Yeah.
rocket.
that's fun.
Yeah, this game's wild.
The thing that just like freaked me out more than anything, it's such a basic weapon that you can fuse, but it's something that's caused me so much pain in some of the early shrines that like I had to have one for myself, is when you find one of those long stick weapons and then you fuse it to another long stick, it creates the long stick, and it reaches all the way across the map, and you can hit stuff without even getting remotely close to it. And there was one dungeon that I did that was essentially like, oh, not a dungeon, excuse me, a shrine that was essentially battle bots, where you can attach things to these little battle bot things that chase after other things. And there's one enemy that's in that construct shrine that has that long stick, and I let my little battle bots roam free. They had fire emitters on top and laser beams and the little the spike balls, and they were attacking stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this dude would drop down from the ceiling and hit me from literally across the map. And I'm like, how the hell is he doing this? And I pick up his weapon at the end, and I saw like, because it tells you like what you need to fuse together to get the other thing. And I was like, this is so basic. I could make tons of these. So now half my equipment was just long sticks, and I'm able to just cheese my way through pretty much every fight at this point. Oh my God, though, that dungeon was a struggle.
This is like the Zelda special too. I saw someone complaining about this, and someone was just like, "What do you mean? This is every Zelda game. They make the normal one, and then they make the crazy one using like the same engine and stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell with just the amount of stuff in this, without trying not to spoil your work, with the amount of stuff, you could tell that like from Breath of the Wild, they built as a crazy game on top of it. That they don't have to build the base game.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild was Zelda game with
is-
physics. Tears of the Kingdom is physics game with Zelda.
There is one thing about this game that I really dislike.
Let's hear it.
They added more Koroks for you to find, so you have to
my
get
God.
additional.
Wait, there's
Koroks.
more than 900.
There are apparently 1,000 now.
Okay, yep.
What?
Not doing that.
Are there
1,000
just
Koroks or
minor-
1,000
Um,
seeds?
1,000
Because there's a big
seeds.
Where's the
difference.
interactive map?
Alright.
at? Where is the interactive map?
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's
I'm
an
loading up
important
Metacritic
distinction.
right now.
That's an important distinction because the ones with the backpacks give you 2.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, how many have backpacks? If it's less than
There's
50,
a lot of them.
I
To
should
be
be
Why
fair-
is
fixing
a
it.
lot
to
of
be
them?
fair,
So far.
I've been finding more of the ones with backpacks on than I have
Yeah.
like single ones. So
That's how they got away with it.
I am
It's like, oh,
curious.
you got 2 for
are
this
there,
one.
Just because I haven't been there yet, are there Koroks in the depths too?
No, thank goodness.
Okay. Okay.
Unless
So
I
it's just
literally
sky-
have not found them, no. Because I
Where's
So it's just the
interactive map,
sky and
bro.
then the surface.
I know
Yeah.
it exists. Where is it?
I'm sure it's got to be up there.
We're getting into danger territory for me now.
Yeah. Well, I think we could stop it there. We've talked for an hour already.
I
About
mean,
Tears of the Kingdom.
I can't stay
Right.
long anyway. So if you guys want to keep going on Zelda, you
Yeah.
can.
Well, I also kind of feel like there's not too much more that we can say because we're
Yeah,
all
Without starting to
separately
spoil
spoiling
stuff,
stuff,
yeah.
I feel like right, and so I feel like by the next show, we can have a deeper discussion. Fidel will actually be here instead of streaming instead. We'll have stuff to talk about regarding Tears of the Kingdom. So stay tuned. Obviously, we'll have more, but I
should be
kind of
farther
do
into
want
it.
to move on because we've already had an hour, and there's a lot of news that happened in the past week. Like a lot of news. You mentioned very briefly the Redfall thing. Do you want to bring that up at all? Like the weird Redfall launch that happened, and Xbox,
Coach,
the
Coach,
guy
you
that
want
runs
that? You want
Xbox
that?
going on-
You want that?
Go
Coach?
ahead.
okay, so if you didn't know, Xbox released their what they're calling their the next flagship IP for Microsoft, which is Redfall, which is a vampire kind of like
Character
Left 4
shooter?
Dead almost. Yeah, it's like an arcade, not really arcade, but yeah, a character shooter for sure. And they were hyping the fuck out of this game because they wanted it to be super successful, and it got delayed. And then more news came out where it was being locked at 30 FPS, and a lot of people did not like that.
Oh,
And
boy.
the game finally came out, and yeah, it was very underwhelming to say the least.
No.
To say the
No.
least, it was very
No.
underwhelming.
Say
okay,
what.
that game is dog shit, bro. That
Yeah.
game is absolute
Thank you.
fucking
He
dog
said to say
shit.
the least of it. That's the least.
No. Because no. Because to say it's dog shit is to say the least.
Damn.
Like, you open up the game and it just kind of throws you into.
You really ain't shit for that.
I was like, what? I know that sound. I got it. Okay.
It throws you
That's
in,
great.
and you you're kind of not sure what's going on. The story is it's there, but it's also not. It doesn't make any sense after you play for like an hour why you're really playing.
Yo.
There's a lot of technical issues, game crashes, stuttering, frame drops, glitches, character clipping, shit guns don't work, AI is
They don't
terrible.
work.
It's it's really bad. And to top it all off, the gameplay itself is really just too simple. There's no creativity to it. For like this game, the more I'm explaining it, the game actually is just really fucking terrible, man.
No, it's okay.
And you know what the crazy? No. You know what the craziest thing is? The craziest thing is there's 4 playable characters that you get at the start. But if you buy the Redfall expansion pass, you'll get 2 additional ones soon and more to come. But besides that, each character has its own progression system. So if you want to play as a different character after playing as one for 6 hours, look, you gotta play the entire game from the start. It is
one of the worst. Okay, it is one of. Okay, so
me and Mike were playing it in co-op, and we were just in silence, man. We were just fucking playing. It's so bad.
I bought it, right, and hadn't booted it up yet. And then I was like, so I watched like a bunch of like these daytime streamers, right? Because that's when I'm awake. So like I was watching Co play it, and Co Carnage is a very like chill guy who like rarely like says like, anything is trash. He's just like, no, this isn't for me. There's some problems with it. He's very like, you know, he was like, this game is unplayable. So so I was like, what? So I watched him play. The AI of this game, and I can say it having played Cyberpunk, is the worst AI of any enemy in any game I've ever seen.
You can play it on the hardest difficulty, and it's still piss easy.
And it still doesn't work, because what will happen is that you'll walk up to enemies, and if they miss you at a certain angle, they'll just stand there and just ignore you. Like, enemies will shoot randomly because they have no idea where you are relative to them if you're far enough. Like, not in the you're sneaking way, in the I'm broken and don't work way. Like, it's so horrendously bad.
The best thing about all of this is, I think a couple days after the game release, Phil Spencer went on Twitter and just said,
I was literally about to say this, yeah.
We fucked up, guys. We know. We fucked up. All right, we're sorry.
He did that interview with Kinda Funny, where he talked about just like the state of the industry and Xbox's place in the industry as well, and like kind of all the different things that they promised that they didn't deliver on. They said it was going to be 60 FPS. They admitted that it was running on like a PC build and not the actual Xbox build. It's just all kinds of things. It does make me wonder, like, what happens if Starfield doesn't do well? Because I feel like, you know, Final Fantasy 16.
Well, Roger,
that's a PlayStation exclusive, right?
Yes.
Phil Spencer promised that nothing will ever go wrong with Starfield after what happened with Redfall, so you don't have to worry there, okay?
We'll see, man. I don't know.
He literally.
I don't trust Bethesda. I feel like every single Bethesda game that's ever come out that I've ever played has always had issues.
Yeah.
I cannot think of one that was not buggy at launch.
Yeah.
No,
that's
all of them.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
All of them are like that.
That's
sure.
part of the appeal, I think, for a lot of people. Like especially when it comes to Bethesda shit. And it's like he went on that. There was like an Xbox podcast, I guess. He also talked for like another whole hour about that, and like about the whole like, you know, they were talking about, you know, game development and blah 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 blah. And he was saying a bunch of like PR shit. And my thing was like, there is an acceptable amount of things that have to happen in game development for them to be released, right? So my actual question before I even start the video is, I don't think he's going to answer this, but I need someone to ask how it passed QA. Because if you play the game for more than an hour, that game should have literally never passed QA, ever. Mm-hmm. Because the game literally doesn't work. So the fact that it passed, like the fact that we even have it, fuck whatever states it in over the game stretch. The fact that it even was sold to people is the craziest thing about this whole thing, because the game literally doesn't work.
If I didn't know what game you were talking about and I just came back and sat down and started listening, I think you were talking about Pokemon Scarlet Violet.
Right.
No. It's worse. It's like 5 times worse, bro.
It's worse than that?
No.
I don't think it's worse.
No, on God, no. It is worse. It is worse. It's 100% worse. Because in Pokemon, the core game still works. In this game,
Redfall,
the core game does not work.
Redfall, you could soft locked like very easily in that game.
God.
Like, it's stupid. And you know what? Another thing is, you could be fighting a boss, right? And if you die during the fight, you would assume you'd have to restart the fight. If you just go back to where the boss is, they're just there standing there, like. It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
This isn't related to.
I want to answer something in the chat because I saw people asking, because I had mentioned it earlier and they saw the tweets about it. People were asking if I could talk about Final Fantasy 16 yet. I cannot. The second I can, because I'm not even allowed to say like anything. The second I can say something, I will talk about it on the show. So rest assured, 16 impressions will be coming. Stay tuned. Sorry, go
That
ahead.
means it's on a Monday, guys.
But like, yes, it's worse. It's worse than Pokemon, because like, at the end of the day, the core game of Pokemon still works, and this game literally does not.
I had another tangent after Coast mentioned soft locking. It's not about Redfall, but the new Star Wars game that just came out. Apparently, there's a thing in it where if you like, do some fancy parkour and like sequence breaker and get into like an area you're not supposed to, it pops up like a warning of like, hey, you're not supposed to be here yet. If you keep going, like the game might be busted. And people were getting like really uppity about like, oh man, I can't believe they put like anti-speedrunning tech in this game, because like it pops up a menu that you have to like confirm that you want to keep playing. But it's like that dialogue is literally the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Like if they have the ability to detect, if they have the
going.
ability to detect when you have like gone out of sequence, when you've gotten into an area you're not supposed to, they could have just blocked you from getting into that area. So people were getting all upset that this was like
a message.
Yeah, it pops up like a
I'm
message.
sorry, oh.
Sorry, what, Roger?
No, I was just saying that's confusing. I've never heard anything that does that. Like you pop out to an area you're not supposed to be in, and it asks like, "Do you want to keep going?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, there was an example of like a person is like up on a ledge, and like they do this like really long jump, and they do like a double jump, and then they do like an air spin in like a way that like gets them more distance.
They basically
normally
just
would.
sequence break the game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they like get across a gap that they're not supposed to be able to get across
Yeah.
without like an ability that they get later or whatever, and like the game just pops up a message. It's like, hey, you're not supposed to be here yet. Like this could lead to like a problem with like your save file, or like you not actually
Weird.
being able to progress because you're not supposed to be here. And people were like getting upset that like this is like
No,
anti-speedrunning tech.
not
But it's the opposite.
anti-speedrunning. People were upset because they were on Twitter and thought, oh, if they knew this part of the game was broken, why put a message and just not fix it instead? That's not the intent of that message. It's there because, like, it's not there to prevent you going out of bounds necessarily.
I understand totally what you were saying too, with like it almost being the opposite, right? Being like, yeah, you could speedrun whatever, but just know that like this isn't what we planned for the game, right?
Yeah, like they could, if they have the ability, because what I assume they're doing is that they have every area like flagged for like, oh, like you're supposed to have this ability and like this item or whatever when you get to the zone, and like if you don't have one of those things, it just pops up the warning. But like if that's the case, if they have a system for doing that, they could just like make you like fucking just die or like fade to black and like respawn somewhere. Like they could just stop you from like doing that. So the fact that they give a
Has
pop up and
anyone
be like,
played
hey,
that yet? Like, just real quick, while we're on the topic, has anyone played Jedi Survivor yet?
No.
I have not.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
just
it looks
wanted-
really cool. I just haven't played the first one either. So
I want to play the first one. I want to play both of them.
You know, I tried with Fallen Order. I tried a couple times because it was free with my PS Plus thing, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'll download it and just see if I like it. And I think I got to like the second or third area where you're in like these, you're on this like mountainside where it's just like these generic gray mountains, and all the little like bottom parts of the mountains are hexagons, and I don't know. I just couldn't be asked to continue playing it. I want to. I like Star Wars. I like the world of Star Wars, but I don't know. Something about that game just like did not stick with me. I don't know if it's just like the animations or the way the character moves. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I can't stick around too much longer, so I'm just going to speed run. Cautiously excited for Diablo 4. I'm going to try it. I hope it doesn't suck ass. I'm a little
on
worried
there
it
with
will. FF16, I sure hope I can find a fucking PS5 because I really want to play it.
You'll be able to. It's much easier to get now.
Yeah, it's like the only mainline FF game I've ever played is 14, which, by the way, a new patch in a week. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We get in that last raid tier and the end of the story, kind of.
Bomber class.
What
The
is going
fuck? Yeah, it's gonna be sick. All right, I gotta head out. Nice talking to you guys. I'll
Take
see
care,
you next
Workshop.
episode.
Sounds
When I won't be
good.
swamped.
Bye.
I'm not gonna be fucking Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna be fucking swamped getting ready for this broadcast because it's done now. So I'll have fucking time to be on the podcast again.
Very good. Very, very good.
Right.
Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
I'll kill him using the word calculator.
You would
What
think
is that
you would
even
think
from?
Ricky would be on this episode with this shit going on.
I truly believe with that soundboard, I thought Ricky was in the background. Well, real quick, something else I want to bring up because we touched on it very briefly during the Tears of the Kingdom conversation are those Nintendo financials, because there's some kind of crazy stories coming out of this. So since the last show, Nintendo released their sales data for the past quarter. The Switch is now the first Nintendo system in history to pass 1 billion, with a B, billion software sales. They have sold 1,036,000 units. No, excuse me. 1,036,000,000, units of software on the Nintendo Switch, which is truly wild. And their hardware is now at 125 million. They said they're projecting another, I think it was 15, moving into the holiday season this year. Obviously, with Tears of the Kingdom coming out, being the success that it is immediately out of the gate, a lot of people, are reporting on how good the sales data for that game is. It's the quickest selling game in the history of France, was one of the reports that came out earlier today. It truly is wild to think that the Switch has sold that much, especially considering, think about the Wii and the amount of garbage shovelware that is on the Wii that would have been included with the software data for that system. The Wii capped out at 921 million units. The DS, also sort of in the same situation, capped out at 948. And the Switch, again, is at 1,036,000,000. With hardware sales of 125 million, which is just under the Nintendo DS, which it will most likely surpass after this upcoming holiday season. Just really wild sales data. I know it's not necessarily the most interesting thing to everybody, but it's just something I think that was interesting and worth noting to bring up here. Is just what a sales juggernaut the Switch is, and the fact that there still has not been a price drop for the Switch yet. Since it launched in early,
the OLED is right there.
But what I'm saying is that the base system has never changed
I
price.
know,
The OLED you can buy,
I know.
That's wild. I mean, that's truly insane. That with a price drop and potentially like a Mario game or something, they'll potentially surpass the DS this holiday season is insane.
No, Nintendo knows that their brand is as powerful as ever and that they can always get away with that shit. And unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with that.
Speaking of getting away with things, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has sold 22 million units, is on track to now beat Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is currently at 25. That is obviously pre the release of the upcoming Scarlet and Violet DLC. Scarlet and Violet has become the 7th highest selling game on the entire platform. Number 1, still in first place, is still Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with almost 54 million units. Second place, Animal Crossing New Horizons, 42 million. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at 31 million. Breath of the Wild about to hit 30 million. It's at 29.8. Will hit 30 by the next sales data thing whenever that comes out. Sword and Shield is at 25.8. Mario Odyssey, 25.7 million. Scarlet and Violet, 22.1. Super Mario Party, weirdly enough, is at 19.1 million, is the 8th best-selling game on the system. Super Mario Party. Think of everything that's on there. Super Mario Party beat Mario Superstars.
Why is
crazy.
that weird? Why is that weird?
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Why is that weird?
Superstars is a better game. I would have assumed that more people would have bought the other one.
What do you mean? Mario Party is a better game for the casual person.
Super Paper Mario was the first Mario Party game on the Switch, and it's a new Mario Party game. So I think that entices people more.
Man, nearly 20 million units sold. Number 8, funnily enough, is a Wii U port, which is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Came in at 15.4 million units, and the reason that is particularly funny is New Super Mario Bros. U on the original system that it released on Wii U sold 5.8, so nearly triple what it sold on the base system. It sold as a re-release years later on the Switch. Kind of wild. I think probably bolstered in part due to the fact that it was one of 4 games that were at launch when Switch launched in China. And then finally, still at number 10, still in the top 10 best-selling Switch games of all time, with 15.3 million units coming in at number 10, Ring Fit Adventure.
Let's go!
Wow. Which again, when you put in perspective like some of the other Wii games that came out that it was potentially up against, you look at Wii Fit Plus, which came out like during the peak of the Wii height. That game sold 22 million, and Ring Fit has sold 15. Truly wild. Ring Fit's actually really fun. Highly recommend it if you are interested in fitness games at all. You like RPGs. You want to just do something fun to keep yourself in shape in between Zelda. Ring Fit Adventure is a pretty fun little game. But wow, top 10. Pretty much guarantees that whenever the next Smash game comes out, Ring Fit Trainer will absolutely be a character.
The trainer? Don't you mean the demon, or is that the actual trainer?
They could do Drago as well, which is like the giant dragon demon thing. But I think they're probably going to do the trainer with the little ring guy. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be most likely.
A lot of those games came in clutch during COVID.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Animal Crossing and Ring Fit especially, I feel like were definitely boosted by COVID numbers. Yeah, truly wild sales data though. Pretty much everything else that you would expect, everything that you think would have hit 1 million has hit 1 million by this point. That includes Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Bayonetta 3, pretty much all the new games that came out since the last fiscal year. Kirby in the last fiscal year outsold Smash, which is pretty surprising considering what a sales juggernaut Smash is, but I think they're kind of hitting a point where now everybody who has a Switch who wants it has probably gotten Smash Brothers. But Kirby is doing very, very well. That was something that came up. I'm looking on here really quickly if there's any other thing to note. I'm looking at their IR library, management policy, financial results, financial earnings. Let me scroll down this real quick. This is from the 9th. So this is 6-day-old news, but figured it's good to bring up anyway. If I look on here, if there's a list for TBA games to come, I know one of the things that was on there was Metroid Prime 4, still listed as a TBA game. No huge surprise there. I think we're all kind of still expecting Metroid Prime 4 will be released at some point.
But that game is still just a PNG is crazy.
It is. I actually think, let me correct myself. It says here that Metroid Prime 4 is the only TBA release on their launch schedule as of yet. The next game to release after Tears of the Kingdom is Pikmin 4, worldwide release on July 21st. And then there is literally nothing on the calendar after that except for Metroid Prime 4, which again leads me to believe they're probably going to have something for the holiday season.
Honestly, so, I'm happy about.
Yeah. Ready to move on. Ready to,
I don't need any more games I need to play every other week. Let me stew with this one already.
Yep. Something else that was brought up in their financial data is that the Super Mario Brothers movie has become Illumination's highest-grossing film of all time, above the previous winner, which is I think the Minions 2.
Yeah.
So Super Mario movie breaking every single record that it possibly could. Nintendo doubled down during their Q&A, mentioning that Nintendo Pictures is here to stay, implying there will be, as if there weren't going to be, more Nintendo movies, potentially with more Nintendo franchises. They also touched on, in terms of initiatives to expand the number of people who have access to Nintendo IP, they touched on the grand opening of Super Nintendo World being a big success in Hollywood, also touching on the recent announcement of an opening of the Nintendo Kyoto store, which is going to be opening in Kyoto, which is obviously where Nintendo is headquartered in Japan. That'll be opening on October 17th. With most likely specialty merchandise. There's currently a Nintendo store that's in the Shibuya Parko, that's in Tokyo, that has a lot of special stuff as well. Also, let me clarify something real quick. There were 2 other games that were on the launch schedule outside of Pikmin 4 and Metroid Prime. It's weird that they actually separated these. One was the Scarlet and Violet DLC, the Area Zero DLC, that says it's now planned for a fall 2023 release with a second release of Part 2 in winter of 2023, and then a double clarification that Wave 5 and 6 of the Mario Kart DLC will also be arriving by the end of this year. Also touching on the fact that Splatoon 3, just in the last quarter, sold 10.6 million units in Japan, is the only major Nintendo IP to sell more in Japan than worldwide. Also interesting to touch on. People in Japan love their Splatoon. They love their Squid Kids.
I don't. Fuck that game.
And then I'm looking if there's anything else in the Q&A that might be worth noting. People were talking about Tears of the Kingdom.
I don't know if
being
it's
more
listed
expensive.
in there, but I know that the Mario movie is going to be streaming this week. So
Yes,
if
the
you all
Mario
wanna
movie,
watch
the
it at
digital
home,
release comes out at the end of this week. I think it's I think in certain territories, I think it's already out, right? Oh no,
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
19th.
say
So it's
it
Friday.
might be out.
Yeah. It comes out Friday, digital release in a lot of territories. Came out in Japan 2 weeks ago as well. A lot of people were giving their impressions there. Apparently, it had a different script in Japan, where they had screenings that were English dub with the Japanese subtitles, sort of like alluding to the jokes in the English script, and then a totally different Japanese script, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, the last little thing to mention while you were talking about the Mario movie, this was a question from their Q&A summary with some of the their financial people, and it says here, the Mario movie's a big hit. What impact will that have on your strategy in expanding the number of people who have access to Nintendo IP? And do you expect non-game revenue to account for a greater percentage of total revenue in the future? Or do you see this one as the result of IP expansion initiatives you have implemented to date, basically implying, is the Mario movie and this similar type of thing is going to be making more money than games in the near future? Furukawa mentioned that there has been positive reception worldwide to the Mario movie, and that Miyamoto, who served as co-producer, also appreciated the response. They heard that many of the people who are going are families, and that the movie is perfect for all ages. It's a great example of expanding the IP, but in terms of the impact on our business in the short term, revenues from the box office and secondary uses of the movie will be reported in sales during the next quarter. And while they are seeing positive effects, there is still obviously a huge focus on video games, and they do not expect the Nintendo IP in terms of just pictures alone to completely outsell or overshadow the video games, which is not a huge shock, but I think something else to note, moving forward with new Nintendo movies coming out and things like that. So yeah, but either way, really interesting financial data from Nintendo. Lots of things coming, with Tears of the Kingdom, I'm just like super interested to see what the sales data is going to be like in 3 months, and what this is going to mean for other games as well. Whether this means more people are going to be buying Breath of the Wild, if there is going to be a sales drop, if by the next fiscal quarter they are going to announce that there's going to be some type of new system. The other thing worth noting that was brought up not only during this financial data news, but also was brought up prior to this, I think reported by Jeff Grubb, if I'm correctly stating this, there will not be a Nintendo Direct this summer. They've clarified that there will not be a June Nintendo Direct during the regular time they would do one, around E3 time. There's already a previously announced Xbox showcase. I think Square is also announcing something as well, but there will not be a Nintendo Direct in the summer. That leads me to believe that there will probably be like a Pikmin Direct or something to hype up that game. But this will be the first summer in a long time with absolutely nothing in terms of new Nintendo news, with the only thing being that they recently announced that there's going to be a Nintendo Live that happens the same week of PAX, which is going to be in September. So there's going to be an E3-like event from them in September alongside PAX at Nintendo Live. No news yet in terms of announcements of that. We don't know whether or not they're going to announce a new system or new games or anything to that extent. There are rumors of potentially concerts that will happen there, similar to the other Nintendo Live events that happen in Japan, potentially like a Mario Kart tournament, Smash, things like that. But no Nintendo Direct this summer at all. And with the only thing coming up in the near future that we know about being the September Nintendo Live event around PAX time. Yeah. End of an era.
Pour one out.
Yeah. I do miss the old press conferences. I wish Mike was here to talk about them, because I feel like, I watched him rewatch some of those press conferences relatively recently on Twitch, and it was a fun blast of the past to see.
The late 2000s ones were like absolutely like nostalgic.
They're a peak, yeah, for sure. I think starting from like the first one that Reggie did with the announcement of Twilight Princess,
Yeah.
even leading through like the bad ones in the Wii era, where you had like the really shitty Wii Music one, where people were on stage blaring music, or like the one after that where they announced Galaxy 2. So there's some of the other weird, funny, cringy moments that happened, like My Body Is Ready, We Fit, the snowboarding with like Shaun White. There were just a lot of funny E3 moments, and it's kind of sad that we're not getting that this year. So yeah, but there will be some type of video game news at some point in June. stay tuned, even though most of us will probably be busy with Final Fantasy and with Street Fighter and with Tears of the Kingdom. On the topic of Street Fighter, one last thing to mention before we wrap up the show. There's been a new video showing off Jamie as a character in Street Fighter. Capcom released a character guide for Jamie, as well as an open beta series video talking about the game. And I think there was also something else that got announced recently for Street Fighter as well. Tito, do you have any information on this?
Hold on, let me sit up. I was sitting back. There was a they've been releasing maybe two or three videos for Street Fighter 6, especially with the announcement. So there will be 8 characters in the beta that's happening this weekend at the time of this release / recording. And the game's coming out in a few weeks, and they've just been slowly but steadily releasing character guides for everybody. They have like Ryu, they have Jamie, they have Chun-Li, I think,
Luke, I think,
and Kimberly. So they're releasing them slowly but surely to give everybody kind of a feel, really trying to get the casual player in to the game. And then, like I said, they got 8 characters on release, which I believe are the aforementioned characters: Jamie, Chun-Li, Ryu, Jamie. I said Jamie. Oh, sorry, Luke, Juri,
Malik Ken.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the same. This open beta is going to be the same as the previous closed betas. It's just obviously available to everybody now.
Yep.
And I think the whole reason why they're doing these quick mini character guides is just to give people quick introductions on the characters that are going to be in this open beta coming up on the 19th to the 21st of May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they were, and then they'd had a 1-hour dev interview, just kind of asking, fan questions, whatever people care. If you care about music, the jukebox is there. They basically confirmed the functionality exists. I don't know if there's going to be a proper jukebox. They did not confirm a proper jukebox mode, but they did confirm that you can play whatever music you want in World Tour mode as well as training mode. But the ability to play any music on any stage is not confirmed as of this.
I'm still mad. Well, as a tangent, in Tekken, that's just stayed on PlayStation. They never brought that to PC.
That's weird.
The jukebox was like a PlayStation thing for Tekken, where you can go to any stage and set whatever song you want for the whole Tekken library. It wasn't on PC.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed it now, but it wasn't on PC for ages. I still don't think it is.
That is weird. But yeah, so games comes out in a few weeks. Game looks very, very good. Plays very, very good. So it's a good 1-hour video. You can either watch the interview or you can just watch like Max's video. Max's video is also very good because they talk about like design philosophy between modern controls and classic controls, and because people are mad about that, I guess. But their reasoning is very valid about why you have modern controls on a fighting game like this. And the number one thing is sales. So, and modern controls help that. So, I'm excited. The game's gonna be fire. Yeah.
Oh, something else worth adding on about Street Fighter 6 is that a couple of weeks ago, a lot of content creators or like FGC heads were invited to Capcom offices in various locations to try out a close-ish to final build of the game, where they had access to a bunch of other characters. So the characters that like aren't in this demo or the beta, I should say. And so there's been quite a lot of footage of those characters as well. Check out people like Sajam and Tasty Steve, Maximilian. They, all the noteworthy FGC people have been uploading plenty of content for the game. It's really cool to see all the other characters in motion as well.
Yeah, somehow Fidel was on that list. He got invited. But, yeah.
Insane.
Sure, man.
Geeflo's correct.
All I'm saying is, where's the Virum commentator pack?
Oh God.
Look, man, I'm not in the Capcom circle yet. Give me a few years.
One day. I was gonna say, wait until Street Fighter comes out, and then you'll get there. All right. Well, I think that wraps up pretty much everything. We touched on the Nintendo financials, talked mostly about Tears of the Kingdom. If you're not interested in Zelda at all, we're very sorry that this wasn't the show for you.
Go play
I guess
Redfall if you want.
Don't play Redfall.
Don't play Redfall.
One quick thing I will mention though, which I guess we didn't bring up, Mortal Kombat. There was the teaser for the next Mortal Kombat game. Are they skipping 12? Is it going to be a reboot? Like, what's going on?
Look, man. Look, Ghost. You can go. You can get your shit off. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This game has been teased for 18 years. I do not give a flying fuck about this game anymore. You can't make me. No one can. Ed Boon, shut the fuck up talking to me, bro. Really? Like, you know what? Actually, yeah, bro. Just shut the fuck up talking.
God damn, shut the fuck up talking to me.
I'm done. Coach, did I cover what you were gonna say?
I was gonna explain that there's like a theory of why that trailer happened.
Yeah. What's the theory? Let's hear it.
Oh, well, basically at the end of 11, it's implied that Raiden resets the Mortal Kombat timeline, so that's why it's gonna go from 11 back to 1 because it'll basically be starting
Like a reboot?
New. Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's basically
Liu
a
Kang gets the
reboot.
power, and with the power Chronica, everything goes back, and now he's like in Raiden's position.
Yeah.
But it's just the thing for me is they just did this with Mortal Kombat 9. Like the whole premise of MK9 is Raiden from the end of Armageddon basically sends a vision to the past of himself at the time MK1, and so 9 kicks off with him trying to correct what happened to get its Armageddon.
Yeah, it's stupid.
So they're gonna do it again.
Cool for them, but until that game stops being the ugliest animated game I've ever seen in my life,
games,
I
bro.
don't.
Injustice and Mortal Kombat. That's what I was gonna say.
Give a fuck,
Them
bro.
stiff ass motherfucking RJ Barrett ass characters, bro.
The fucking stick figure, pajama Sam looking ass motherfuckers, bro.
What's interesting is there's rumors that for the new Mortal Kombat, there's a possibility that Homelander might be a character.
Homelander?
Yeah, I saw
Homelander, yeah.
Who is
Homelander and
that?
Peacemaker, the boys.
Like from
That's
The
the main character
Boys?
from the boys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Peacemaker was John Cena.
No, yes, no.
Yeah.
So
He is.
Peacemaker's the other
Homelander's
one.
from the boys. Peacemaker
Homelander's
is
from the
John
boys.
Cena.
Which one's Homelander? Is he the guy with a beard?
No, he's
No,
the blonde guy
Homelander
that
is the-
that
yeah.
has
Oh,
like.
is he the memed guy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
sure.
You know the
Yes,
perfect
yes.
guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Down to the last minute detail, that guy.
Look, man, I just don't. Like,
Give a
here's the
damn.
thing.
You
Here's
don't
the
give
thing
a
about,
fuck.
Here's no. Here's the thing about NetherRealm in general, right? Is that game, and I mean this with all my soul, okay? It is 2023, arguably about to be the greatest game, or greatest year for fighting games since 2009, okay? Which was the hugest renaissance in fighting games in terms of influx of new players, okay? You're not gonna tell me that if they do the same animation, and I have to sit there and look at Mortal Kombat before or after Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, you got me all the way fucked
Yeah,
up.
bro. If I gotta see them ugly ass cakes in neutral one more time, I swear
Bro,
to God.
you got me all the way fucked. I'm talking upstairs. Like, what? Oh,
That boy in
God.
the attic, bro.
I'm really on the roof right now.
On the rooftops.
I'm on top of that chimney. Fuck out of here.
Someone also on the rooftops ready to jump are Silk Song fans. This is something else that
my
actually
God.
happens in the last show. Or the
Jesus
fact that
Christ.
Silk Song, well, I mean, this is something that came up recently, is Silk Song has been delayed. It is not going to be coming out in the time frame that Xbox basically said it was going to be coming out in. Silk Song is getting delayed for probably a while. I
Are
can't
we
imagine it's gonna be
doing
out.
the thing where we talk about all the games that got delayed? Because I got another one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League has also been delayed basically until next
Yeah,
year.
that game needed
I
it.
genuinely thought that game already came out.
No, thank God it did.
That was definitely about to be a Redfall.
Yeah, that was about to be a Redfall, but they were like, you know what, we might need to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, they probably don't want it to be the same thing. I do have faith, though, that when Silk Song comes out, it'll be fantastic. So let them cook. Take your time with it. No rush to get Silk Song out there. We're fine. I'm sure Xbox is not happy because that came out during their direct or whatever, is when they said it would be coming out on Xbox within the year. But again, who cares? Silk Song is going to come out when it comes out. I'm sure it'll be great. So,
You know what you should care about, though?
what should I care about?
The Xenoblade Future Redeemed roundtable that we just had uploaded on YouTube this week. If you have not watched it,
thank you for bringing that up, Coast. Yes, once again, if you are at all interested in Xenoblade, me, McDareth, Viram, and Coast did a roundtable regarding the Future Redeemed DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Talked about just how fantastic it was, and it was a full spoiler discussion of all the different story beats, things we liked in the game, and how it improved on Xenoblade 3. So if that is at all something you are interested in, that is available for everybody on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/the Japan Time Podcast. You can search for Japan Time Podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, pretty much wherever there are podcasts, but make sure to follow us on Spotify and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We will be back in 2 weeks talking more about Tears of the Kingdom and potentially some other games as well, other things that are getting released, maybe some other things that will get announced in the meantime, so look forward to that. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later. Good night, everybody.
Somebody's getting fucked.
somebody's getting fucked.
Hurry the.